Welcome to Active Stretch, everyone. I'm Cindy. I'm subbing for Catherine today, and as you can see, I am indoors because it's cold out and it's wet out. So Kristen made the executive decision that we would just be doing this on Zoom today, and I'm glad she did. I agree with her decision, and so here we are. We'll start out on our feet today, and as the title of the class mentions, Active Stretch, we'll be doing some active warm-ups here. Nothing too difficult, but just enough to get the blood moving. So let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is give you a couple landmarks in the space, and I have some gladiolas here on the right, and then I have a spider plant on the left. So these will be our landmark markers. And so the way I use that is to, instead of saying right and left, because that can be confusing, I'll say the side of the room with the gladiolas or the side of the room with the spider plant to give you a little bit of reference. So we'll take the foot that is closest to the flowers and step that forward. Let me step in a way you can see my feet. And we're just going to rock forward and up onto the pad of that foot and then back into the heel of the opposite foot as you point that toe. And it's a rocking motion. And we're kind of rolling or rocking on the soles of the feet like a rocking chair. And just warming up and pumping the legs to get the blood flow moving. And then let the arms rock with those legs as well. As you rock forward, bend the elbows and bring the hands up to the shoulders. Yeah, and you can add a little breathing in here as it feels appropriate and smooth and rhythmic. Good, let's do that a couple more times. Looking good. Good. Now bring the arms out in front, over the head, and stretch back. Inhale, come forward, and shoulder rolls. Good. And just let the body move in the way that it feels good for you. We're still waking up this morning, moving the blood flow from the torso out into the limbs. Good. One of the other things that we're doing as we wake up in the morning is creating a little space between the organs. There we go. And then stepping the feet together. Take that same foot and step it back. So we're on the opposite side and rocking back and forth across the soles of the feet. Good. Feel a little bounce in the knees. And do this in a way that feels a little bit playful, a little bit effortless. It's not a way that you can actually do it wrong. We're just warming up, getting things moving, doing a little shaking, and seeing those internal organs separate. So at night when we sleep, things kind of stick together like Velcro, and as we move our body, create a little space. Good, now bring the arms up and back. Shoulder rolls to open the chest. That's the way. And one more time. Last one, open the chest and hold, and step the feet together. Good, now step the feet apart laterally, and we'll rock from side to side. Bring some energy, movement, and circulation into the hips. And then add a little twist at the pelvis and the waist so that the shoulders follow, and we start to warm the spine up with a little bit of a rotation. Good. And then come back to the center and let your hands slide down on your thighs, sink down and up. That's the way, down and up. Continue to see and feel heat enter the legs. Good, add the arms now, down and up, big circles around. Down and up, big circles. So warming up the joints of the legs, the ankles, knees, and hips, the joints of the arms, the shoulders, the elbows and the wrists. And then once again, take your hands on your thighs, sink, and do a little twist here, bringing one shoulder to the opposite knee. And then rise and sink with the breath. Exhale and twist. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, sink and twist. Good. Moving only to the level of comfort for you in this twist. Don't try to go too deep, too fast, but just take it slow. One more on each side. And that's the way. Exhale, twist, look back, add a little twist in your gaze. So you add the benefit to the cervical vertebrae. Good, and we'll come up. And then take the arm closest to the flowers overhead into a side bend. And reverse. Starting to move our stretch laterally is moving lymph fluid. So these side to side bends are excellent for propelling the lymph fluid, which is 70% of the fluids in the body are lymph. So we want to get things moving and on their way out of the body. The toxicity in the waste, metabolic waste of the body is in the lymph. So I'm going to ask you also at the end to drink an 8-ounce glass of water to complete your practice today, to really help support the body in eliminating what we're bringing forward in our movements. One more on each side, nice and slow. And let's hold. Rotate the wrist. Continue to create spiral energy in the joints. Reverse direction. Spiraling energy moves interstitial fluids. Push the palm of the hand up and down. Other side. Hold. You can see my wrist. And rotate. That's the way. And if you're a visual person, see if you can imagine reversing direction and seeing a spiral energy pull energy fluids out the arm and into the hand, and then press through the wrist, flat palm up and back, and interlace the fingers, bring the hands up to the heart, and then turn the palms down towards the floor and press through the wrist, the heels of the hands, stretching the wrist, bend the knees, and go sink wide. So we sink into the hips, bend the knees, and go wide. So we expand the knees rather than sinking and collapsing. I'm going to sink and expand, push down, push forward, stretch the upper back. That's the way. And then press up and rise up and release. Interlace the fingers, come up to the heart, push, sink, let the arms rise, and then release the arms and come up out of the legs one more time. Looks good out there. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Well done. Shift your weight to the side of the room with the glads and turn the toes towards the spider plant, and we'll lunge and rock forward and back out of the lunge. Just take your time here, moving slowly and checking the position of the knee so it doesn't go past the big toe. A little bit past the ankle's okay. And if you need to shift, you can heel toe walk that foot out. Let me move my feet so you can see. And then we'll hold it here. Draw the arms up. And as we draw the arms down, we're going to let that forearm rest onto the thigh and then do circles with that opposite arm. 1, 2, and 3 in each direction. Other way. 1, and 2, and 3, and feeling the strength of the leg. Feel now the difference in the legs. You're going to feel a little more heat in this leg because we've been putting some extra weight on it. And we're going to shift our weight into this leg. Pick up the toes, turn, and then moving into the lunge on this side. And just rocking back and forth out of that lunge to continue to bring some circulation into the joints of the legs. One more time. Hold. Reach up. Exhale. Go into a side bend. Good. Let's reach. Reach, 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 reach. And 1, 2, 3. And reverse. That's the way. And come up and interlace the fingers again. This time, roll through the wrists. So you're basically scrubbing those forearms together, rotating the wrists. This is not only a stretch and active movement in the arms, it's also a brain teaser, because in a moment we're going to pause and go in the opposite direction. See how that goes for you. A little bit of extra mental energy to make that happen. And then press and bring the hands behind the head, push the elbows back and lean. One more time, side bend. Inhale up and exhale, other side. Good. Inhale, exhale, and then extend the arms. And then clasping the wrists, we're going to take a shoulder stretch here. So we're hooking the wrists here. And then another side bend, a side lunge. And then let the hands drop down towards the knee on the extended leg. And if you can, if you want to go deeper, slide the hands down to the ankle. And then reach around and come to the center. Press your palms in between your legs and release your head. Look back through the legs. And shift from side to side. 1, 2. Nice and slow movements. See if you can feel the shift in sensation from side to side. Really lay your attention on your body. Perfect. The more we lay our attention on our body, the less anxious we are. Bring the hands around. Our body gets anxious because our mind is often wandering into places beyond this moment. So let's bring the backs of the hands together. Pull up over the head, big arm circle. And shake a little bit. Take the hands behind the head, interlace the fingers, push the elbows back, expand the chest, take a back bend so it's a spinal extension, moving through the spine in all the different ways it can move. Good. And then extend the arms. Pulling across. Another shoulder stretch. Feel the back of the shoulder, getting a nice stretch. Go the other side. I think I took you to the wrong side here, apologize. There we go. Now the back of the shoulder, I feel it really on this side a little bit more than the other. Body awareness, take the hands down towards the knee. Good, and then sliding a little further if you're able. If not, this is just perfect as is. If you're able, slide the hands down to the floor, come around, and then let your hands come right under the shoulders and lift enough to let the arms dangle and create little circles here. Just letting gravity take the arms back to earth, releasing any compression, tension in the shoulders, and then let the top of the head also to dangle towards the earth. You can bend your knees here to support yourself. This is a form of an inversion as we're releasing compression from the spine and letting blood flow into the brain. And then begin to grab a big scoop of energy or whatever it is you need, draw it up and over the head and give yourself a shower of whatever it is you need. Use your imagination to feed the body. Bend the knees, reach down, gather what it is that you'd like to bring up into awareness and fill your space with. One more time, sink down, reach up, gather. And exhale this time. Hands are going to rest to the kidneys. We're going to push the palms into the kidneys. The heat of the hands, now imagine penetrating the kidneys. We want to bring heat into the kidneys as we lean back into that support. Try to keep your chin tucked towards your sternum so you're not putting excessive pressure on the neck, but you're letting the weight of the head be supported. And then as you exhale, bend forward and slide your hands down the back of the legs. And then we'll move into our position on the floor, bend the knees, and then in a way that works for you, go ahead and come on to your mat. See if we can adjust this a little bit so that light isn't so intense, but you can still see. Here we are on the floor. Adjust the camera angle. Wonderful. We're all meeting on the floor. Perfect. All right. Let's let our hips shift off to the side of the room towards the spider plant and extend the leg. We're going to draw the arms out to the side. Keep the shoulders relaxed. So as we lift the arms, we're not lifting the shoulders, but just let the arms rise up shoulder level. And then we'll drop the hand to the inside of the leg as we reach towards the foot. And then come around and twist. Alternating side bend and twist. 2 more like that. Side bend and twist. And then we'll hold side bend. Now for the side bend, those of you that have a strap and like to work with a strap, you can place the strap around the foot if you're not able to reach. The idea here is that we want to stack the shoulders so the shoulder isn't rolling in. We can take this hand behind the head, feeling a little support there, and then lift that elbow towards the sky and look up. That'll really help stack those shoulders. Great. And as we keep some tension on that leg by flexing the foot, we engage more length in the back of the leg. And then we'll breathe into whatever sensation is arising, noticing how wherever there's sensation, there's tension being addressed. We can send our attention into the tension to support dissolving it. Where our attention goes, energy goes. 2 more breaths here. Roll that elbow back. Imagine your shoulders leaning up against an invisible wall. And then reach the arm up and behind. As we go into our twist, we can take the hand to the opposite knee, look back, sitting up tall, gazing over the shoulder. And now I want to invite you to imagine a spiral energy rising up the spine from the base, the basin of the pelvis and the tailbone up the spine and out the crown of the head. Continue to breathe and noticing sensation. So when we're twisting, we're basically kind of wringing out the spine like we'd be wringing out a towel, a wet towel. And then notice now as we come out of the twist, we'll begin by shifting our gaze forward and then unwinding the shoulders and eventually coming into a neutral pelvis. Excellent. Now take the leg that was extended and bring it around. And we'll twist in the opposite way. Now, in this case, what we're actually doing is accessing this outer thigh. Is more of what I want to invite than the twist itself. Although we'll be in a rotation, I want to add a little self-massage by tapping. One of the great things about tapping the body with a nice open fist, so think of it like having a robin's egg in your hand. You don't want to squeeze it so tight that it breaks and cracks, but you don't want it so loose that you drop it. So there's a little hollow fist, and we just tap on that IT band and all of the tightness that tend to accumulate this part of the body to break up adhesion, to break up the fascia, and to give our body a little bit more freedom to separate the fascia from the muscle so the muscle can breathe and move and stretch and create a little more lubrication It should feel good, and if it doesn't, then do it lighter. You can even actually brush, moving that lymph fluid towards the heart by brushing from the knee up to the hip. Great. And we'll move out of that position to extend our legs forward and come to a forward fold. Some of you might like to add a little lift under the hips. If you'd like to, that's available to you with a blanket or something else handy in your environment, a pillow. And again, if you'd like a strap, you place it around the feet. There we go. Inhale up. So meaning up, meaning attention up the spine, out the crown, nice flat back. Imagine leaning into a wall behind you. Shoulder blades pressing into the wall so we're not rounding forward. And then keeping that flat back as you hinge forward from the hips. Lifting on the inhale and lowering on the exhale. Lifting on the inhale. Good, and exhale, lowering with a flat back, keep the feet flexed, engage the back of the legs. We'll do that 2 more times and then we'll hold the stretch. So this active part of inhaling and exhaling in and out of the edges of our boundary of flexibility is kind of a courtesy to the body to say, hey, we're coming in for a stretch, be prepared, and this is the direction we're moving. Like putting your blinkers on when you're driving, a courtesy to the driver behind you. Avoiding injury, giving the body a chance to catch up with the mind. Taking some deep breaths here. Let the chin come to the sternum, nose towards the knees, crown of the head reaching towards the toes, toes reaching towards the crown of the head. Soften those shoulders. Breathe through the nose and open the upper back with a big intercostal breath. Hold the breath in and feel the stretch across the upper back. So you want to imagine the space between your ribs opening up with that breath and then holding the breath to hold the stretch. And then releasing the breath through the mouth. One more time, breathe in through the nose. Hold at the top of the breath. Imagine filling the upper back like a balloon with that breath. Hold it. Now as you exhale, pull your navel up towards your spine and force the breath up and out of the pelvis. And feel the back deflate as well. Come up on an inhale slow. And bend the knees and bring them in. Great. Keep your strap on your feet if you're using a strap. If not, reach down and take the ankles. And then lean back enough to lift your lower body and just take a little check-in of the core strength. See if you have enough core strength to support your legs and hold for a moment. Good. Soften and relax the shoulders. Rotate the ankles. Great. You can also do this with feet on the floor, still feeling it in the core. Reverse direction. And then release the knees over towards the gladiolus. And release the support under the hips. If you have it, extend the leg. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Starting with our side bend, taking a lateral stretch. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet that we're also doing in our stretch is some internal massage for the organs. And so this is my right side. I can't tell if the video for you is the same or mirror image. And on the right side, we have our liver. And on the left side, the spleen. So as I'm moving into my side bend, I'm compressing my spleen and pancreas and opening space in the liver. So I want to see a nice opening there in the liver. And then as I bring my hand around and I twist, I'm squeezing the liver like a sponge. And then alternating. So not only are we focusing on muscles, we want to take our attention a little deeper into the internal organs here to have a little bit more intimate awareness of what's actually happening in our body when we move and what all is affected. Beyond the surface, there's some depth happening here. Those internal organs and their function are an important aspect of the health of our being, and particularly the flexibility of our spine determines how well our internal organs function, and likewise. So let's take a hold here on our side bend and let your hand come behind your head to support your head. Draw the elbow up towards heaven as if you're pressing your shoulder blades into an invisible wall behind you. Excuse me. Good. Keep leaning in and seeing the internal organs. If you can, use your imagination. Imagine what might be happening internally to the systems of the body that work together to keep you healthy and in flow with the greater energies around. That's the way. And then reach the arm out and stretch the wrist one more time. Go ahead, add a little spiral energy into the side bend. Imagine anything in the liver that needs to go, or for your case, it's the spleen and pancreas. You're just unwinding it and letting it flow out the hand and shake and come up and bring that hand behind the back and then twist. Hand to the knee, shift the gaze behind you to bring that momentum up into the cervical vertebrae. You want to feel and see a spiral energy rising out of the pelvis, up the spine, out the top of the head. Softening the shoulders, maybe even softening the gaze and taking a less serious approach to our focus, just a soft, attentive, present attention on the body, gaze. Good. Now noticing as we slowly come out of the stretch, how circulation begins to increase along the spine. And it's very subtle, so don't feel bad if you can't notice it, but in time, whatever you put your attention on, you'll notice more of. So let's take our foot around again, or if that's uncomfortable and not appropriate for your level of flexibility, just bring the foot to the inside of the knee. Whatever the case, we want to hug that knee towards the chest and then pull the knee over a little bit to the point where we feel the muscles on the outside of the thigh being stretched. And then create that soft fist that we talked about before and start to tap in a way that feels comfortable. Maybe a little uncomfortable, but just enough discomfort to create benefit. For me, it feels great, so I hope it feels great for you. Pleasure is always a part of our intention in stretching, is that we want to have pleasure in the way that our body moves. It should feel good to move. Great. And then we'll go ahead and brush from the knee towards the glute. Nice. And come out of the twist. One more time, extend the legs. And this time, we'll straddle. Again, if you like that extra lift for the sits bones, prop up and straddle the legs. Great. Now, let's start to roll through the ankles one more time to continue to encourage heat to the feet, reverse direction. We want to be bringing the fire energy in the head down into the legs. And then we want to bring the water energy from earth and the pelvis and the kidneys up towards the head to cool off the excessive heat in the brain from over processing. We are all doing it on information overload these days. So sitting up nice and tall, take the hands center and walk forward enough to feel that you still have your sits bones engaged with the earth. Your feet are flexed, the muscles on the back of the legs are being stretched, and then hold this for a moment. Breathe in. Feel the stretch across the upper back. The majority of our lung capacity is in our upper back. Exhale, and if you can, bend the elbows and drop down. Still keeping that connection with the sits bones. Now in this stretch for me in particular, I feel a little extra sensation around the back of the knees. And why that's helpful is that this is supporting the muscles around the knees that support that joint. And so we want to imagine seeing circulation increase in the areas where we're feeling sensation. Use your imagination. Continue to bring your attention to your body. This is one of the keys to performance and success. All professional athletes use visualization because it works. There isn't any one athlete competing at the highest levels as an Olympian that isn't visualizing. And we can apply the same. The same technology applies to every body. We use it for different purposes. Purpose of healing or regenerating and restoring something that might have been lost, our circulation or our flexibility. Now bring your feet together and actually bring your feet together towards the flowers, or it doesn't really matter which side for you. For me, I'm going to have a little bit more leg room this way. I want to bend my knees here so that as I begin to roll back and down, that I have some support for my back. I have my strap, so it's handy, and I'm laying down my spine with control, one vertebrae at a time, challenging my core strength, and then laying down. I like to have something under my head, and you can choose what you like to do here for yourself that's comfortable. And we'll just let ourselves put our attention on our spine here and see if we can go ahead and feel as though we have equal amount of weight on both sides of the pelvis and both shoulder blades. So if we have a pattern in the body that makes us compensate and use one side of our body more than the other, you might notice that here in what I call the 4 pillars. Bring your knees into your chest, and then if it's appropriate for you to lift your legs, go ahead and do that. Bring them up nice and straight, as straight as you can, and then flex and point, flex and point. And let's do the same thing with the arms. Bring them up over the shoulders. Good. And then lay the shoulders back. Once we lift the arms and raise the hands up towards the sky, the shoulders like to round forward. So lay them back flat and flex the feet and hold. And you'll notice that your core actually has to do some work here. And then again, check in with the 4 pillars. Do you have equal weight distribution between the upper and lower body? Shoulders and hips between the right and left side of the body, shoulders, hips. And then from here, keep your core strong and release your right leg slowly down. And then release your left leg slowly down halfway to the floor and hold. Now we're stretching our energy across the midline of the body and doing a cross-lateral movement here, which is going to stimulate stretching our brain a little bit. Take your left leg lower and your right arm. Hold. You can always bend your knee on that leg to support any weakness in the low back or core. and back to the center. One more on each side, just to keep that neural circuitry of the brain active, engaged. Alternate sides and center, and then bend the knees into the chest and let your arms wrap around your legs in whatever way is appropriate for you to draw the knees in and feel a stretch across your low back. And again, rotate the ankles. I invite you to continue to bring attention to the ankles and feet and the wrist and the hands. To always try to draw energy into the limbs and away from the torso where it likes to kind of hang out. You need to bring that energy out. Keep it circulating. Now bring your feet hip width apart. That's the way. And then a little wider than hip width apart. So if you're using a mat, your feet are right on the edges of the mat. And let your arms extend out, and we'll just rock across the sacrum and the lumbar spine by letting our knees move like windshield wipers. That should feel good. And then pausing at the center, find your strap and place it around your foot. One leg, doesn't matter which leg. Rocking that leg back and forth. And then hold the static stretch. Flexing, pointing, flexing, and pointing. And then if you're able to, go ahead and straighten that leg on the opposite side. Flex the foot. And lift the leg up a little bit, again, engaging the core. And if you'd like to, you can bring your chin to your chest, lift your nose to your knee, and come up and feel the stretch moving up the back. Up the spine, the muscles supporting the spine, the back of the neck as you tuck your chin to your chest. That's the way. And then release your upper body. Release your free leg to the floor, and then take the strap in your left hand and gently guide the leg across the midline of the body. Twist and look over the right arm. Flexing the foot, push through the heel, and draw the leg up towards the shoulder and down. Lift and lower, 2, 3, and 2 more. And then as you hold, bring it up and hold it onto that edge, and notice it's a sensation arising and shifting as you lay your attention upon it. There's a phenomenon in quantum physics related to the observer, and it states that particles and waves change based on how they're being observed. So our body is actually made up of particles and waves at the deepest level. And as we lay our attention on our body in particular ways, it shifts the way those particles and waves function. So we want to see the muscles of the leg lengthening, and then release that leg. And let's sweep it over. Have to be careful not to knock over the flowers, and bring it over to the center and outward. Just rocking across the center of the body gently, and then over to the side. Feeling a nice stretch in the inner thigh. As you breathe, take the breath down into the belly. So now that the pelvis is nice and open, we have a lot of space to breathe in and let the belly rise up. Getting a nice stretch across the front of the pelvis. And then let's rock that leg into the edge here as we've held this dynamic and static stretch for a moment. We've found our edge, and then we can gently explore just beyond as we tap in and out of that boundary. And then tap in and hold. And then releasing, bringing the leg back to the center, bend the knee, place the foot on top of the thigh, and then bend the opposite knee. And draw that knee into the chest and reach through and hold. With deep breaths, lay your awareness on your body where you feel the most sensation, and imagine seeing that wherever you're placing your attention, there's a river of energy flowing into that area of your body, saturating the resistance and dissolving the tension. Release the leg to the floor, cross the knees, stack them one on top of the other, and draw them back to the chest with the knees crossed. Pull in for a nice final stretch on this side. Uncross the legs, and if you can, take the ankles or just the outside of the shins and straddle the legs. Flex and point, rotate, reverse. So as we lay in this position, reclining here in a supine position and elevate the legs, we're letting all the blood flow from the legs dump back into the pelvis to recirculate that blood flow back to the brain, back to the heart, so that it can do its job of recirculating energy up into the brain to cleanse some of the stagnant thoughts and so forth. As we shift our state of awareness, we start to see things differently. The fog is actually lifting a little. That's a nice metaphor. Let's rock that leg back and forth. Now we're on the other side. We've strapped in. The knee on the opposite leg is bent to help stabilize the pelvis as we move in for a stretch on this other side. Good. Notice as you move into the stretch, flex the foot, engaging not only the hamstring, but the muscles along the back of the knee and the calf. So as we flex the foot, we pump the calf, and the calf muscle being pumped, just like as when we walk, is also moving blood, fluid, and lymph back up into the heart. Flex and hold. And then point and flex. And extend this opposite leg if you'd like to go to the next level of challenge here. Press through the heel and imagine lengthening from the head of the femur all the way down the leg through the heel, and then lift that leg enough to engage the core, and then bring the chin to the sternum, lift the neck, and then lift the chest towards the knee and pull the knee towards the chest. This is optional, but it does add a nice continuation of the stretch happening in the back of the legs up the spine. Wonderful. And then rest your upper body and rest the lower body as you take the strap into the right hand and guide the leg into your reclined twist as you cross the midline of the body. Make note of that nice movement of sensation crawling up and around the outer thigh and into the back and the muscles that connect the pelvis, the sacrum, the hip, and everything is being bathed by this stretch. Breathe into sensation. And then gently rock the leg in and out of the boundary. Just knocking on that next level gently, asking for permission to go a little deeper, and then holding a little deeper for a couple breaths. And coming out of the twist, supporting the leg in the left hand, and to move back and forth into a nice hello for the inner thigh. Now you can bend the knee on the right leg to support maintaining a nice neutral pelvis as you move just the leg. Two more and then we'll hold. Hold it there. Breathe into the belly, stretching the space across the pelvic bowl, the anterior pelvic bowl, where when we sit and cross our legs, we create tightness here, congestion. We're opening that up, and then tapping in here, lift and lower. Use the support of your arm and your strap to lift the leg and lower. So lifting that leg so the foot comes closer towards the head, and then lower, and then lift and hold, and feel where the sensation now starts to move. And then release the leg, come back to the center, bend the knee, and release that foot onto the opposite thigh. We'll reach through and take our and stretch, if you will. Flex the foot. Nice. For those of you who want a little more, you can again bring your chin to your chest and round, nose towards knee. Letting that stretch move up the muscles, support the spine. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed. And then release and cross the knees. Reach and take both knees into the chest. And then release and uncross the legs. Reach up and draw both feet towards the head. And then rock gently with that sacrum tipping forward and back. This can be done with the knees bent as well. And then we'll bring our chin to our chest, rounding, and create some momentum and see if you can rock yourself up to seated. Balance for a moment, challenge your core. You did it. Reach the arms up, let the legs fall to the floor, and then take a final forward fold with or without your strap. Lifting and lengthening the back. Exhale, float forward into your new flexibility and feel grace of surrender. Increase the circulation and flow in and out. Exhale, fall open to what's present, what's available. And inhale, rise up to seated. Draw your knees to your chest. Good. Turn to face me. You did it. Excellent. Let's come to Z seat for just one last stretch. Take your hand towards the foot behind you. Lift the arm. Bring it over. Once again, rotate the wrist. And release. Bring it behind you and twist. And center, knees together, roll to the opposite side, come to Z seat, place your knee just below your foot, place your hand behind your foot, reach the arm up, come up, exhale, cross. Rotate the wrist, good, 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 feels great. And exhale, take your hand behind your back, twist, look over the shoulder. That feels good. Spiral energy up and out the spine and come into your cross-legged position. Hands on the knees, shoulders rolling back. Shake out the hands. Good. And rub them together. Create some heat. Take a breath in and feel the coolness enter the nostrils. Exhale, blow into your hands. Feel the heat enter your hands. And give yourself a hand. Wonderful job, everyone. You followed well. I'm really happy to have the opportunity to be with you today. Let me check in with everyone and see how it went for you today. Thank you for being here. If you have to go, I'll see you next time. I'll unmute.
That was great, Cyndi.
Oh, good. Let's see. Who am I with? I have to put my glasses on to see. Unmute, everyone. And gallery.
It was great. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Have a great day.
Hillary,
Awesome.
I haven't seen you for so long.
I know. Hi, Cyndi. I was
Hi.
a little late, but it was fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it.
It was great.
Wonderful. How was it for you, Linda and Bob?
Were you warmer?
Much warmer,
It was
Linda.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. I loved it.
Oh, good. I think you'd really like the Monday restorative yoga class. We go even deeper and slower, and I do it in front of a fireplace, so I love it. I like to be warm.
Oh, wow.
Great class. Thank you, Cyndi.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you were here. Good. Thanks for checking in, everyone.
Okay,
Linda and
thank
Bob.
you, and I hope to see you again soon.
I did send you an email, Linda. Did you get it?
Yes, yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks
you're
for the
welcome.
information.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for your interest.
Take care.
Okay. Hillary, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait. Thanks, Cyndi. I look forward to it.
Yeah, and I sent your friend Tristan an email.
Yeah, oh, great. Thank you. It's her birthday today. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I wish I would have known that. I would have wished her a happy birthday. I'll do that.
Oh, well, yeah. I just realized now, so I'm wishing her today.
You know, and of course now I want to know her birthday and all that, so I can.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I just unmuted myself because I was muted.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you
good.
so much. It was a wonderful class. Really.
Oh.
I'm sorry I haven't had you more on.
Great.
Well, you know, I think I've been gone for 3 weeks, and if you look on the schedule, I should be there next week on Mondays and Thursdays. So if you'd like to come back for class, I'd love to have you for more of the same.
Love
and
it.
different.
I feel great. Thank you.
I'm glad you feel great. That's the idea.
Okay.
Better and better, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today.